I want to finish up the series on relationships today with kind of a summary talk referred to as relationships and sexuality. But before I get into that, I want to mention that next week I'll be starting the series on codependency. And codependency is the core series I started way back in the 90s to kind of put a lot of these lectures and stuff together. So we'll start that next week. I want to begin today by doing a reading. I picked a reading from Each Day a New Beginning, which is the daily meditation book for women, July 31st. Love doesn't sit here like a stone. It has to be made like brick, remade all the time and made new. We love to be loved. We love to be held. We love to be caressed. A show of appreciation we love too. And we love to know we've been heard. The friends, the spouses, the children in our lives want the same from us. Like a garden that needs water, sun, weeding to nurture the growth, so does love need attending to. To become whole and healthy people, we need to tender nurturing. We also need to give away what we get. Those we nurture will bless us and nurture us. Love is dynamic, not static. It's always changing. It always changes those it enfolds. Since coming into this program, where the sharing of oneself, the open expression of love, is profoundly evident, we each have changed, and our presence has changed others. We have learned to accept love and give it, or better yet, we have learned that we deserve love. I look around at me today, and I remember, my growth and theirs depends on loving and being loved. I will reach out. I can make love anew. I want to start off with that reading because the lecture I'm going to share today and some of the thoughts I'm going to share with you today kind of put together this whole series on relationships. Because I really believe in the concept of sooner or later we have to be able to experience and get in touch with what I refer to as our sexuality. But for those of you that think I'm going to give a talk on sex, well, I'm not. Your sexuality is a little bit different than the word sex. Your sexuality is our personhood. It's who we are. It's our uniqueness. It's our specialness. So it makes us the unique individual that we are. Our sexuality is very close to our spirituality. The two blend together. To be able to come to a true understanding of who I am, my entire person. And so the ultimate relationship we talked about in the second talk, the one that I have with myself, means I have to be able to learn how to love each part of me, physically, emotionally, spiritually, socially, all the different aspects of my life. But in order to do this, I have to learn something called balance. I also have to learn the importance of boundaries. So I call this the B&B talk, the balance and boundary talk. Because I truly believe that everything in life is centralized around relationships. And I want to use an example to kind of bring this out. The first example I use is one of my favorite movies. It probably will be my favorite to the day after I'm dead. And it was taught to me by my niece a long, long time ago. I told you that story. When I was younger, let's put it that way. But basically, my niece, I used to babysit her when she was a little baby and as a little girl. Now she's in her 30s and she's married, but she was a lot younger back then. She would stay overnight and she would constantly be part of our family. And she'd wake me up in the morning and she'd say, "Uncle Vince, Lion King." Her and I would go downstairs, cuddle on the sofa, and watch Lion King. At the end of Lion King, she would say, "Lion King." We'll watch it again. Then she'd say, "Lion King." We'll watch it again. I think Hannah and I watched Lion King probably about 53 times over the course of her journey with me. Now I understand why that happened. See, I really believe everything happens in life for a purpose. And the bottom line is, I now understand because to me, Lion King is fundamentally what I refer to as the concept of life. We refer to as the circle of life. I love the circle of life because a circle is something that has no beginning, it has no ending. It's continuous. It's part of the process of life. And the interesting thing about the circle of life is it begins with birth, goes into childhood, is connected as teenagers to young adults. We then move into middle age, then eventually into that thing called old age. Then eventually we start the cycle all over again. Because I really believe in the concept that we never die. We're talking about spirit, the energy of spirit. And my spirit is my sexuality. My spirit is my personality. My spirit is the gift of who I am. My spirit is my experiences. It's my hope. It's all the things that go on inside of each and every one of us. Each one of us is in touch with the sense of our sexuality. Unfortunately, in our society, we've taken both that word and the word love, and we've kind of made it into something we could sell cards with, we could sell a lot of things with, and we get caught up in the aspect of sex, also into the aspect of physical sex. See, again, sex is a beautiful word, but what does the word actually mean? It means interconnection. The word intercourse means to interconnect. So the concept is, as we go through the journey of life, we have experiences. We interconnect with them. They're a part of who we are. They're part of our makeup. They're part of our journey. And each one of us has a story. Each one of us has a history. Each one of us is in process. Each one of us is going to experience what I call the circle of life. At times, just like Simba had to leave the circle for a while and try to do it his own way, eventually he had to get smacked back into the circle again. No different than us. It's great to be human, isn't it? Which means we're going to make mistakes. We're going to screw up. We're going to go back and forth. And most of us learn the old-fashioned way. It's called, my father used to say, it's called capitosa learning, brickhead learning. Got to do it the hard way first. Then eventually we do our learning. We do our growing. It's all part of that process, that circle of life. And that's why I never tried to look at this negatively. Because my history and your history is unique. Each one of us is a very special and unique individual. Each one of us has talents. We have gifts. They make up the gift of who we are. But those gifts need to be shared on all four levels. And that's that interconnection that we have with others. It can be on a physical level, an emotional level, spiritual level, social level, a connection back and forth. And I use this as an analogy to kind of bring out what I'm talking about today, because I really believe that every relationship we have in life is a gift. That's why I call the book I wrote, Relationships, the Gifts of Life. And all of us, no matter who we are involved in all different types of relationships. It could even be with your pets, with things around you, with your children, family. They all make up that beautiful concept of circle, that circle called life. I use an analogy. I did it in the book, and I'll share it with you. I call it the analogy of a wagon wheel. Notice something about a wagon wheel. In order for it to work, it has to have balance. The center of the wheel, the core of the axle, is the God of our understanding, our higher presence, something spiritual and powerful that holds things together. And then the axle of the wheel is us. We connect to that higher power, to that higher source. And then from it flows all of our spokes, our relationships. They're all interconnected, but they flow from the inside of us. They flow out. Some of those spokes we experience at different points of life, and all those spokes also have some good points, some negative points, back and forth. They create the energy and the circle of life. And we look at that spoke and we realize the fact, in order for us to live a good, healthy, and balanced life, we have to be able to look at each and every spoke on the wheel of our life and be able to look at it from two perspectives. As part of our journey, and it's so important to understand this, in any relationship, there is elements of negativity and elements of positive. See, realize something about life. Every one of us is both negative and positive. That means we're alive. It means we have energy. It makes up who we are. And many times we have to be able to go through the fire to learn and grow, go through the struggle and go through things in life. And I've learned over and over again that everything I do in life, I have to earn it. When I earn it, it means something to me. When I struggle, it means something to me. When I have to work through different periods of my life, it means something to me. And many of us, no matter whether it's at birth, we have to go through struggle to be born. At childhood, we go through the struggle of family, which is part of our journey and part of our life. And every family I've met on the face of this earth has some forms of dysfunctionality. Isn't that wonderful? It's normal. There is no perfect this or perfect that. And so we all go through our things. We do through our learning. My parents came into my life to be my teachers. My family came into my life to be my teachers. Were they dysfunctional? They won awards for dysfunctionality. It's totally amazing. But the bottom line is, as I grow and as I learn, I look back and I begin to realize from my history, there's something good to learn, to grow from. Even the negative stuff that occurred, I can learn positive and beautiful lessons from it. I look back on my own journey and I realize the fact that my mom, controlled my life, set my life up for me, but she did me some great gifts. I spent years and years and years with this thing up here, being angry at her, being mad at her, going through changes, feel resentful, stuff to that effect, till I finally was able to grow up and go through the fire to the other side and begin to realize, wow, my mom did me so many favors and taught me so much, but I couldn't see it because I was too busy being stuck. And now as I get unstuck, I begin to realize she gave me a gift, put me in a priesthood at age 14. I thought that was terrible. Then I found out it was wonderful. You know why? I had to grow up. I had to stand on my own 2 feet. I had to learn things I never learned. If I had stayed home, that would have happened. I'd probably still be home. The amazing part about it is sometimes a fire's got to be lit under us to get the journey going. Was I scared? I was scared to death leaving home at 14. I don't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't even know how to interact with people and connect with people. But guess what? I had to learn. You get thrown into the fire. You learn. You grow. First parish I went to, I found out the pastor was an alcoholic who was never there. And I found out at 26 years old that I was going to run a parish. I don't know how to do it, but I did it. And I'm grateful today. I can look back and I can say it was a great experience, something I went through. I was scared out of my mind. I don't know what I was doing. I ended up developing 2 addictions as a result of it. And even they were a gift. God, it's amazing sometimes when you finally get to that stage of your journey, you begin to look back and begin to realize, wow, all these things are teachable moments. They're things that happen to us. The beginning of starting point, when Norm gave me that mustard seed and told me, take this seed, it's going to grow. He set me up, I know. The next day, I met with him and found out I was starting point. So he didn't tell me that the day before. And all of a sudden, this little seed began to grow, and that little seed started to change. Everything starts to change. This morning, I was looking on in my office. I have a book. It's the original manuscript of the AA Big Book. And I was going through it again this morning. I keep it right on my counter here so people can look at it and take a look at it. But I just thought about it for today. I said, wow, do you realize back in the year 1935, 38, 39, in those years, a group of guys got together, a group of recovering drunks got together and put together this beautiful, beautiful manuscript, this beautiful book. They put together the 12 steps, the 12 traditions. Now you got to tell me, they had to be divinely inspired, Because left to them, they would have screwed this thing up so bad, it'd be unbelievable. There had to be an intervention. There had to be a beautiful spiritual intervention in that. It opened up all kinds of doors, all kinds of directions. Did they really think when they were doing this back in 1939 that there would be 21 different 12-step programs today? That the 12 steps will open up to all different areas of life, be able to use them as spiritual principles to live by? They weren't sitting there saying, well, let's start this program so we can have it actually expand and go in this direction. They were just trying to survive. They were trying to make it. How many times have we, in the course of our journey, been through struggles? We look into our teenage years, those transition years, those change years, those hormone insane years, those years when we had no idea who the hell we were. We kept trying to figure it out. We kept looking for the absolute answer. And there was no absolute answer. You think I really knew who the hell I was at 20 years old? I thought I did. I thought I had all the answers. I thought I had it all together. This morning I was out there talking to a young girl here who's 22 years old. We had a very nice conversation, and I had a conversation with her about the fact that she said, Vince, this recovery stuff is really, really tough. I said, thank God. She looked at me and said, what do you mean? Let me tell you a secret, I said. The tougher, the better. It's not easy. It's hard work, but it's worth it. Take it from the old guy here. It's worth it. And we laughed and we kidded around a little bit. And I said, don't worry. You're on your journey. Just like I'm on my journey. We're all on our journey. You're going to be okay. Just take it a day at a time. Take it slow and celebrate, enjoy. We have to go through this transition. We got to go through our growth process. We have to go different things in the phase of our life. When I got married, I inherited 3 teenage girls. And I don't know how to handle teenagers. But to me, today, I look back and say, thank you, God. What a wonderful adventure. Scared the living crap out of me. At times, I didn't know what I was doing. And I still remember, I'm Italian, I'm a little nuts, I know that. But I basically wanted them to like me, so I got up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I was going to fix them breakfast, get their cars ready for them, do all this kind of stuff. And my daughter said to me, Mom, is he going to be like this every morning? My wife finally said to me, go to the gym. So I went to the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning. When I came back, they were off to school. That built a wonderful relationship. In short, get the hell out of here before you get in trouble. And I've learned something from that because now I still go to the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's amazing. So I thank the girls. I thank my wife. I thank people for it. See, I'm learning even to build a sense of humor into your life. Things you're going to go through. My therapist, when I worked with my therapist years ago, said to me, you suffer from emotional abuse. I finally said to him, what's that? He said, well, I'll explain it to you. Your mother never taught you the normal things you were supposed to be taught. And things happened that weren't normal in this direction, that direction. I said, but we got to remember something I told the therapist. When I was going through that, I thought it was normal. Now I find out it's not. So what does that mean? Should I get mad at her again? He said, no. Look back with gratitude. Try to learn from it, grow from it. Everything you went through was a purpose involved in it. The things I experienced, the people I've met, the teachers. Look at your own lives and realize, oh my God, all the different teachers that came into your life at different parts, even when you went through loss, or even when you went through the process where basically something did not work. Why didn't it work? I don't know about you, but I get an anxiety attack because I wanted it to work and it didn't work. I went through it again last night. My wife asked me she just did a whole bunch of weeding on the side of our house. And she asked me to spray it. So I got the sprayer out. And guess what? The thing wouldn't work. And so, typical Italian, I tried everything possible, even banging it against the wall a few times. Maybe that would get it started. Italians would do that stuff. But the thing just doesn't work. I found myself getting angry, getting frustrated, going through all kinds of changes. And wife said, what's the matter? I said, I can't get this thing to work. She said, maybe it's because it's not supposed to work. I said, thanks a lot. You always do it. Let me just get aggravated for another 10 minutes. Then you tell me that, all right? I have to have a little bit of aggravation first before you tell me that. And so I put it down, and she said, leave it alone. Give it another day, and we'll take a look at it. I said, well, thank you. I went in the house, and I said, then I went through my changes, like, I can't even fix a crazy sprayer. I can't do this. I can't do that, And my wife said, oh, my God, you're so damn hard on yourself. Will you take a break? It's only a sprayer, and they work and they don't work. So the bottom line is simple little things like that, you realize, but yet they're teachable moments. They get us in touch with different things in the course of our journey in life. We all go through this. It's all part of the process. So look at that wheel. It's got to have balanced spokes on it. Take a look at the wheels. If you only have one spoke on a wagon wheel, how far do you think you get? Nowhere. So what do we do sometimes? I want all my eggs in one basket. It's not relationships. We do that a lot of times when it comes to, relationships. I want you to be my life, my everything, and my all. I want you to always be there for me. I want you to be this. I want you to be that. Don't ever put that kind of pressure on a human being, okay? Want to know why? Because they're going to screw up. They're going to screw up. Because they're human. And don't put it on yourself either, because you're going to screw up. God, isn't it great to be a screw up sometimes? It's wonderful. We got to have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It makes the blend. It brings things together. It makes life the fun part of life. So you don't get too upset or get too serious. You look at these things, you learn from them, you grow from them. I'll never forget my first sponsor. Not my first, it was my first. It was my third sponsor in the program. And he was a great guy, Richard. I loved him. Richard used to say something to me. He used to say, now, when you go to a meeting, you go 10 minutes early. I said, why? So you can socialize and mix with people and say hi and get a few hugs and just to be a little social creature. Then always make sure you listen to the first 10 to 12 minutes of a meeting, where they talk about the preamble, how it works, all these different things, the steps, the traditions, all the basics, all the fundamentals. That is the most important part of the meeting. Because what's happening is you have to hear that over and over and over again. So it becomes part of your fiber and part of your makeup. It becomes part of who you are. Then you participate in the sharing. But you're going to find out in the sharing, you're going to find 35 or 40 different perspectives, different points of view, different concepts, different things. And you might want to say, how come they're not all doing it this way? Because there is no this way. There are many ways. And each one is going to bring their own perspective, their own concept to it. Just like today, I'm giving a talk that's coming from me, from my heart, from my spirit. But there's, I don't know who's here, 30 people, 35 people, whatever it is. There's 35 different interpretations of what I'm saying today. And that's how it's supposed to be. So a part of the process we go through in life. We're going to see things through different sets of eyes, through different ages, through different concepts. And so if I'm healthy, then I have this beautiful circle of life, but I have different spokes on the wheel. I got spokes of family. I have the spokes of work. I have the spokes of play. I have the spokes of recovery. I have the spokes of community, the spoke of service. All these spokes make up the aspect of my relationships in life, and they're all part of my sexuality, my interconnection to all different areas of my life. Your interconnection to family, and that changes over the course of time. I look at my own life today, my interconnection to my blood family, to my married family, to my recovery family, to my work family, to different areas and concepts of my life. And every one of them are a family. We're all connected to one another. to my children, to the people around us. These are all connected and they go through changes. They don't stay the same. I look at my grandkids, and when I was down in Stroudsburg at the railroad for my birthday, my wife and I decided to go visit some places, Cherry Crest Farms, the Red Caboose, all the places we used to take the kids. We used to go and sleep in the caboose, the train, the Red Caboose, all the things we did. So we did a nostalgia run. We did all the things we did before with the kids. But now those little kids don't know what happened to them because now the oldest one is 27. 2 of them are married. The third one's getting married this year. What happened? Yesterday, they were just this big. Now they're this. My niece has got a baby and she's 30 and she's married. Come on. The bottom line is it changes. Everything changes. Everything's in process. Everything's part of it. And that's why I have so much gratitude to the big book of AA, to the founders, because they were so wise. Again, I have gratitude to God, to the higher power, to the higher presence, whatever they choose to call that. Most important thing, because I realize everything in life is in constant process of change, in constant process of growth, in constant process of learning. And this is what we refer to as relationships with self, with others, with things around us. It's called relationships and sexuality because it's your personhood. How do I take my person and interconnect it with other individuals and people? With some people I'm closer to than others. With other people I've met 1 time or 2 times or 3 times. I don't know. It's all part of it. I had a beautiful phone call today from a young lady, and she said, "Do you remember me?" I said, "Yes." She said, "I was in your women's group way back in 1992. And now," and first of all, let me go back to the message she left me first. She said, "Vince, I really need to talk to somebody because I'm living in a assisted living program now. I don't know if you remember me or not, but way back in 1992, I was in your women's group. I really feel bad even making this phone call because I figured by now you must have passed on." And so I said, "Okay." It's the first time I ever got a message about me passed on already. I says, well, I called her up and I said, "Guess what? I'm still here. I didn't pass on yet." So we had a nice conversation. She was crying. It was really nice. It was really good. We interconnected, went back and forth with each other. That's a relationship. That's what it's all about. That's those simple little things. That's the interconnection. That's really what it's about. It's not just about a physical act or stuff to this effect or one. No, it's that connection. It's my connection to my home group on Monday nights and Fridays. The people in that group, we connect with one another. My sponsor, talking to people, they're all interconnections. They're all things we connect with each other. That's our growth process. That's really what it's all about. But everything's always changing. Look at my home group and my EDA program on Monday nights. That program started here at Starting Point. There were 4 of us in the group. 4 people sitting in a room, not really knowing what we're doing, but we got the program together. And now, look, that was back in 2015. Now it's 2023, and my home group has 42 members to it now. It grew. Starting Point once was a halfway house for street people and a soup kitchen. Now it's mushroomed into something totally different. It's going to keep changing. It's got to keep changing. It can't stay the same. There's new things, new directions, new technology, new areas in life. That's what life is supposed to be about. You can't stand still. I'm sorry. You got to either be moving forward or backwards. You can't move. You can't stand still. And that's why it's so important to get connected to that concept of our relationships. Because all things in life are relationships. They're all gifts. They're learning moments for each and every one of us. At one time I had hair, and now I don't. The bottom line is, it's something we have to realize. We're going to go through changes in life. There's things I can't do anymore today that I did for years. Do I like it? Nah. But I accept it. And that's where boundaries come into play with yourself and with others. That's where the most important word you learn in life is balance. We need a balanced life. Too much work, no good. Too much play, no good. Codependents are good for extremes. We really are. I use that analogy I always used about codependence. We have a hard time letting go of control. We got to try to control everything, put everything together. When new ideas come along, we get nervous. You know, we did it this way for 200 years. Why can't we got to change it now? Because it's not 200 years ago, it's now. I live in a 55 and over community. I hear it every day. If only things could be the way they were back in the 30s and the 40s. That was the perfect time of our life. I says, maybe except for the Second World War and a few other odds and ends that were going on back then. And they look at me, they give me that look, But we can't go back. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back to my childhood. That means I got to go through all this stuff all over again. Do some more learning, do some more experiencing, do some more growing. No. I like where I'm at right now. And I'm going to go on, and eventually I'll get to that circle of life. I looked at the circle this morning and I said, guess what? I'm at the old age stage. Isn't that wonderful? It's fantastic. And that means you're at the last stage. But a beautiful stage, because now you can look back for experiences and learning and growing and being able to do things and write things down. I'm trying to write the history of Starting Point right now so I can kind of leave it as an idea, trying to write it as it's still in my head and the stuff that's connected to it. But I truly believe everything that we experience and went through in life makes us who we are, makes us our person, makes us the importance of that. And I don't know about you, but it's important to have three things in life. Be the person that you're supposed to be. Be yourself. Accept it. Have a voice. Don't be afraid to express who you are, to express your feelings, to express your experiences. And thirdly, have an attitude of gratitude, an attitude of humility, an attitude of learning, an attitude of growing. Have the energy of love. And if I'm able to truly love myself, I'll share that gift and connect with others. And that's where the real energy comes from today. It's a beautiful part about the journey in life. We have to realize that's what it's really all about. Each and every one of us has been part of the journey of one another. We've touched each other at one time or another. Doesn't mean we got to be there all the time, no. But we connect, we learn, we grow. Things happen, things move on, things change. We begin to realize over and over again how people change. Thank the good Lord that they change. Because again, we can't stay the same. And we also realize the fact that we also will come to that day, we'll have to get that round trip ticket punched and move on. But the bottom line is, take a minute today and reflect on your spirit. What are you going to leave behind? You're going to leave behind your spirit, your energy, who you are. You're going to pass on to others what you learned. They're going to pass it on to others. And the more you're able to experience that, and I thought about that this morning as I sat and talked with that 22-year-old. And I realized the fact that she was talking to me about things I was going through. I was talking to her about stuff. What was I doing with her today? I was passing on my experiences to her, and she was passing on her experiences to me. We were interconnecting. And that is the real gift of human sexuality, to interconnect, to be part of one another, to be able to experience the gift of one another on all four levels: physical, emotional, spiritual, and social. So my prayer today is that each and every one of us will open our hearts and open our minds, open our spirit, be open to learn, be open to grow, be open to new things, be open to new directions, be open to the journey. But try to the best of our ability to realize that we are going to experience hurt and pain. We're going to experience joy and celebration. We're going to experience a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And sometimes you're going to experience so much pain that you're going to think, why are they doing this to me? But as time goes on, hopefully, your spirit will help you to learn from it. But don't try to do it by yourself, okay? Because we're a community, we're a family. We all need each other. We need each other's gifts, each other's talents. We need to be open to new things and new directions. And the beautiful thing about life is everything's in constant process of changing. You know, we're in a new world. New things are happening. We look at history and we realize the fact that we, like anybody else, there's a beginning and there's an ending, and there's a new beginning and a new ending. You know, history teaches that. Now you look at history and you look at different empires that rose, then fell, different things that happened. But if you base things on spirit and on spirituality, you base them on the core of interconnecting with a positive attitude. And the Buddhists teach it so beautifully. To be a balanced person, you must have both negative and positive. That gives you energy. It gives you growth. And so it's okay to disagree. It's okay to agree. It's okay to scream. It's okay to smile. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be joyful. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to celebrate. Acceptance, celebration. All these things are part of that circle, that oceanic circle that's interconnected. And we're all part of the circle of life. And if we pass it on, somebody new will take over the circle and the circle will continue. I'm grateful to the founders of AA that put this program together when they said there are nobody's in charge. We're all connected. We're all part of one another. We'll all take turns connecting and sharing, connecting and sharing. It's all part of the service that we do to each other. We're connected with each other. So there are no heroes and there are no goats. There's nothing in here but beautiful, fantastic, wonderful people. And that's who we are. And wherever you happen to be, look in that mirror tonight and say, I love you. You're so damn special and beautiful. I know sometimes I get angry, I get mad, I go through changes in my life. I go through all kinds of feelings on the inside. But I do celebrate and love who I am. With all my idiosyncrasies and crazy behaviors and stuff to that effect. It's all part of it. And that's part of the journey. And so as we pray today, we pray that God will help us on our journey of personal relationships with each other, but especially with ourselves. So let us pray. God, we come before you in prayer. We ask for your guidance. We ask for your direction. We ask the God of our understanding. We ask our higher power, our divine presence, to continue on the journey of inspiring us, of helping us, teaching us patience, teaching us to be open, teaching us to learn, teaching us to realize that we're never done. There's always something new, a new direction, a new thing to experience. Give us the gift of not be afraid to take risks, to open up, to make mistakes. Thank you, God, for this wonderful gift of life, this gift of our humanness, the gift of our failures, the gift of our growth, the gift of our struggle, the gift of our accomplishments. And teach me in such a beautiful way that for me to truly be the person that I am, I have to have a combination of all those things. They're all part of my makeup and part of my journey. So thank you, God. I thank you in a very special way that I may be open to new things and new directions, to be open to learn and be open to grow, but to realize that at times I have to be able to say goodbye so I can also say hello. I need a combination of both. So I ask your guidance, I ask your direction as we celebrate and we pray in your name. Amen.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.